What's up everybody? Speedytommyt here. Hope everybody is well. What I'm going to do for you guys today is bladder change replacement. This Everlast large, and many of you know this is my go-to bag. This one, I bought a pair of them probably 10 years ago, and used one, burned it out, blew it out, and took the bladder out, put it in another bag, and now this one finally went, and not holding air, and then I got a little seam busting here, so I'm gonna repair that too. But one thing to notice in buying bags, riveted loops probably are more durable, and of course the bladders. So we're going to get into this bladder change. A couple things you'll need is obviously a needle and lubricant, and I use this beeswax. I'm just gonna put a little bit on there, just a little lube, and maybe something to help get the laces out. Use this little needle and some contact rubber cement, or if in a pinch you want to use super glue. And if your bag is in bad shape inside, you use a little bit of this sandpaper, scuff it up. And also, if you want to be adventurous, I guess, and if you have same type of material when you get your bladder out, you can replace valves. You can do, just like you would a bicycle tube repair. Some rubber cement, sandpaper, scuff it up. All right, so the first thing you want to do is release all the air. So getting all that air out first. Step. So also go over some of these bladders, different bladders. What does happen is that most of them are not available when you need it. So you keep some in stock of what you can get, but definitely show some differences in bladders and weights. So I'm gonna get this knot out of here. Try and undo this knot the best, and it's good to have something that you can get in there and poke around a little bit and pull that knot out. Now this is probably another key point. At this point, you want to probably start taking pictures. If you want to lace it back up the way it was, if you don't, you could just lace it back up with a pair of sneakers or whatever else. So get that knot out of the way. And you open it up and you see they double loop that inside out. So you might want to take a picture of that and see how it's going in and out. But I gotta open up these laces. And here they flip it over. All right. And you really just kind of got to get it open enough so that you're accessing this hole inside of the bag. It's laced through the tongue, of course. All right, so now we got access to the bladder. Now, you want to turn it inside out and get this stem in the bottom. And here's your next pro tip. So when you turn this inside out, this bag is obviously lightweight and easy to manipulate, but at this point you got to get it up through the neck. So pro tip is, see if I get this on camera, you're going to use a stick or whatever, but secure it, and you're going to put that at the bottom of the bag near the bladder, and you just work that bag back down in there. All right, good pro tip. So now we get that bladder, get that bottom of the bag out and that bladder out of there. All right, let's see. So a couple reasons why this may not be my go-to bag after this is because I don't have one of these bladders, and I came out of this Everlast, so oh my, this thing's stuck in there. Ooh. My. Jeez Louise. Whew. All right. Well, that's what you got. Bladder stuck all over the place. All right. So Everlast has these snap-in bladders, and then they don't use glue, and just pop it right on out of there. Well, Everlast bladder, you can see that it's not shaped round, but that's their large bladder, and I planned on using the Enkay large, but what I'm going to do is probably put in the Enkay medium, and the reason being is in the weight of the bladders, and I'll show you that later. But also, when you put in a smaller bladder, remember this is the one that just came out of that bag, so I'm gonna put this over here. And when I put in the smaller bladder, it's going to give it a little bit more bounce, or definitely be an overinflated medium-sized bladder in the large bag. All right, so the surface is pretty clean here. Don't need to prep it, but you would use the sandpaper and clean it. Same thing if you were reusing another bladder. So if I needed direct replacement for this one, I could go get a $20 vinyl speed bag at Dick's and just take that bladder out, put that bladder into this bag, and probably be close. But what I have is an Enkay bladder, and that's what I'm gonna be putting in there. And I like to orientate it so this rubber seam goes along with this long seam. All right, so now you're gonna put a little bit of rubber cement on there. If you haven't ever used contact cement, what you wanna do is apply a small amount on both surfaces. And let dry. So give that a second to dry, and we'll go over some of this weight stuff real quick. Get it on grams, and we'll see. Let's see, can you see the, you should be able to see it. All right, so the bladder that came out of the Everlast, 66 grams. And the bladder going in, $60 grams, and it's a medium, or yeah, 4 I think is their medium, Enkay. And if I were to put in the large Enkay, we're looking at 77 grams. And it's just heavier material, it doesn't blow up as well, and it's not the same exact shape. Okay, so let's see, we're pretty dry here, and it's a good thing, rubber cement you don't have to worry about till it's contact. And like I said, we're gonna worry about how it orientates in the bag. Make sure the nipple goes in first, and hold for seconds, and there you go. And what I like to do is to get this back in, I'm gonna reach through and start manipulating it back through. And once you can get your fingers in to the bottom of the bag, whoop, just take that back out a second. Contact cement didn't work. No good. Oh, cut that out. All right, well, we'll do the same thing. It's a little contact cement. Didn't work, so super glue. And just hold it for a second. Same thing though. And work that back in there. Make sure you grab that nipple and the whole bottom of the bag. Turn that back inside out and try and get it lined up as best you can. The whole time I try and hold that nipple, I'm just going to get some pressure in here and blow this bag back out. Well, once you get some pressure in there, blow it out. All right, I ain't going through all that. Probably about another 30 pumps. But at that point, you get a little bit of pressure around your bag, make sure this is set in there good, and basically gonna relace it. So I'm going to go back a step. I see I got another seam here. It looks like it's breaking away. But I'm gonna go back in the bag and sew that up. And then you just wanna try and lace it the best you can. If you took your pictures, you should be able to see it, but however you get it done. And like this bag, title large, is pretty much just shoelace. So I mean, shoelace will work, whatever you can do, leather strap. But that's it, easy, 1, 2, 3. And if you order a Cleto Reyes bag, it comes with the instructions and an extra bladder. Imagine that. So now let's talk about these different bladders and weights and types of materials. So I just mentioned this Fighting Sports Large, and the weight of just the leather skin is 184 grams plus the paint. And their large bladder, 136 grams. Is this thing still on? Yeah, 16. All right, so 136 grams, and some people like these bladders. They don't mind the way those feel. But when you see the black tip, it's typically this. It's a real heavy material, and it's gonna take a beating, that's for sure. But 100, how many grams? 77 grams on the Enkay large. Again, 136 grams on that Fighting Sports Large. And those black bladders usually come in Fighting Sports and title bags. And then we have an old Everlast large weighing in at 68 grams. So I think this one was compromised by oil getting in, probably lubrication from the swivel, and that oil disintegrated the rubber. That's just my guess, but that came out of an older bag. There's a couple more older ones and how that latex broke down. And this is hecho en Mexico. Old latex bladders. Now they're all made in China, but that came out of large, and you see the elongation of that bladder to fit the neck of the vintage bags. 52 grams, and that would go into the large, long bags, big heavy bags. Here's another one, long bag. This one was made in Connecticut, made in USA. And this, I remember it still holds air, just the valve is bad, and it came out of another vintage large bag. Huge bag, 87 grams, and it's a really similar to latex, but it's different. Okay, so a little bit on those bladders and a little bit on changing the bags, and just remember, it really doesn't matter how you lace it back up at this point. Just make sure your bag is straightened up and the bladder is filling the neck. And if it doesn't seem right, you go with the next bladder size up. And well, I'll let you know how this one feels, if it's gonna remain my go-to bag with this bladder in it. Maybe I'll change it back. Thanks for checking out the video. Any other things I can help you with, and we'll talk later. Thanks for watching.